Hi Year 2, welcome back to our second lesson of our outdoor learning topic, which is fossils and extinct animals. Right, I'm going to share my screen so that we can get started. Fantastic, okay. So, as I said, this is our second lesson of fossils and extinct animals this half term. Last lesson, we looked at a very quick history of the Earth from 4.6 billion years ago, when the Earth was formed, until 300,000 years ago, when the first kind of modern day human appeared on Earth. So we're going to be looking a little bit more at extinct animals today, which was one of the key words that came up in our last lesson. I'm wondering, can anyone remember what we mean when we say that an animal or a plant is extinct? I'm going to give you 20 seconds to either have a think, jot it down if you've got a piece of paper, or if there's someone else learning with you, you can have a quick chat with them. Off you go. Well done, Year 3. So, extinction is the dying out or disappearance of a particular species. So this could be a plant species or an animal species. And last time we mentioned the mammoth, which is on your screen now, and also the dodo. Both of those animals are extinct. So most mammoths were extinct around 10,500 years ago. However, some got stranded on an island called Wrangel Island, and those mammoths survived a little bit longer, and they only became extinct 3,700 years ago. So still a really, really long time ago, but a little bit more recently. Now the dodo became extinct around 300 years ago at the end of the 1600s, around 1680 or 1690. So particularly the mammoth, which became extinct a really long time ago, how do we know about these animals? Especially those that became extinct many, many years ago, like the mammoth. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to have a little think about it. Again, you can just think, you can jot it down, or if there's someone else learning with you, you can have a quick chat about it. How do you think we know about these animals that became extinct many years ago? Well done, Year 3. Okay, so there's quite a few answers to this question. So, animals have been going extinct over a long period of time. So as we said, the dodo was extinct around 300 years ago, but the other three animals I've got on that top row all became extinct relatively recently, in the last few years, in fact, which is incredibly sad. We've got the Pinta giant tortoise, which became extinct in about 2012, the West African black rhinoceros, which became extinct in about 2011, and the splendid poison frog at the end there, that beautiful red frog, became extinct in the wild only last year. So in 2020, that became extinct last year. So those extinct animals that we know on the top row, even the dodo, we know about because there would have been drawings about it, there would have been writing about it, and obviously the ones that were very recently, like the tortoise and rhino and that splendid frog at the end, there would have been photos and videos of them, and people would have documented them because they were all very recent. How about the row below? We've got the mammoth, the saber-toothed tiger, and the ground sloth. All right, and those all became extinct around between 10,000 and 12,000 years ago. So how do we know about those extinct animals? Because there definitely weren't photographs or films about them, and also people weren't really writing about them. So how do we know? So, three main ways we know about these animals, all right? The first way is that we've actually found some of these animals have been frozen and therefore preserved in their in the ground for thousands of years, which is amazing, which means we've found bones and, for example, the mammoth's tusks in the ground. And sometimes they've found whole animals that have been preserved by the ice and by the cold for thousands of years. So I think there were a couple of discoveries of the mammoth where they actually found that an animal had been preserved so beautifully that they could identify its skin, and even its fur was still preserved, which is incredible. So we've got some frozen examples, all right. We've got fossils, which you may have heard about. Now, we're not going to talk about fossils today in a lot of detail. We're going to do that next lesson, where we're going to look at how fossils are formed. But that's another way that we know about these extinct animals. And finally, remember we said the earliest human was 300,000 years ago. So when the mammoths and the saber-toothed tigers and the ground sloths were around, they were existing at the same time that as humans were existing. So from that time, we've also got things like cave paintings and carvings to tell us about what happened during that time. So most cave paintings that are around today are around 10,000 to 20,000 years old. Which is incredible. And they found some cave paintings have been as old as 40,000 years. So most of these cave paintings came from a time known as the Stone Age. And people during this time wouldn't have the kind of paints and paintbrushes and equipment that we have today to do their paintings, their cave paintings. So they would have used natural paints, often by crushing rocks or natural materials. And so there'd be kind of natural colours like black, white, reds, oranges and browns. So colours that you would find in nature. And they also, as I said, wouldn't have paintbrushes like we do today. They would have used their fingers, they would have used twigs and stones, but they might have also used animal hair to create something like a brush. So there were different ways that they created these paintings. So, why do we think that people in the Stone Age drew cave paintings on the walls of their caves? There's lots and lots of different theories about this, and people have been debating it for many years, but I'm going to give you 4 options, and I'd like you to, again, either have a think, jot it down, or talk to someone, if there is someone in the room with you, about why you think cave paintings exist. So was it to decorate the cave? Was it to communicate a message to other people? Do you think it was part of some type of ritual before people went out to hunt? Or do you think it was to keep a record of events like important hunts? I'm going to give you 20 seconds to have a little think about that. Well done, year 3. Okay, so cave paintings has been one of the key ways that we have found out about life thousands and thousands of years ago, including about the animals that have become extinct. For example, the mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger and the ground sloth. So this is what I would like us to do today. I would really like you to create your own cave painting, drawing or carving of an extinct animal. Now, it doesn't need to be one of the extinct animals that I have spoken about today. It could be a different animal that you are interested in, okay? So this is what I would like you to do. You've got lots of options depending on what you have got at home. All right, so you could do a painting. You could use crayons, pencil, chalk, charcoal, or if you wanted to do a carving, you could use Play-Doh, clay, or mud. Okay, so those are some of your options of things that you can use. So if you were doing a painting, I would like you to first of all try and use the colours black, white, reds and oranges. As we said, those are kind of the main, or browns, I forgot to write browns on there. Those were kind of the main colours that were used in cave paintings. I'd like you to paint either using your finger or a twig or even a stone. And what you could paint on a stone. You can lean up on an uneven surface to make it really bumpy like the wall of a cave, or you can screw your paper up first so it's more like a cave wall, and I'll show you that in a minute. If you're using crayons or a pencil or colouring pencils, chalk or charcoal, you can lean up on an uneven surface, or again, screw your paper up first so that it's more like a cave wall. And again, if you're using something like charcoal, you could do it on a stone. You could do your drawing on a stone. Finally, if you're using Play-Doh, clay or mud, what you'll need to do is you need to create a smooth surface as kind of your paper. Create a smooth surface first of all. Then you can use your fingers, twigs or stones to carve out the outline of your extinct animal. Okay, this is just some quick examples of what I did earlier. So what I decided to do was I screwed up my piece of paper first of all, and then as I was using, I did an example with pencil first. I did just a background with the pencil, just to kind of give a bit of a cavey type feel. I then drew my outline of my woolly mammoth, and then I got a colouring pencil and coloured it in, again using the kind of reds and browns, oranges that we are focusing on. So the second row, again, what I did is I got my finger and I used watercolour paint. So I dipped my finger in water and then got my paint, and I created a cave background using the brown. That's my cave background. As you can see in the second picture there, I then got a twig, and again I dipped it in my water and I got my paint on it and I did the outline of my woolly mammoth. And then again I went back to my finger and I did a bit of colouring my woolly mammoth in, and I just did a couple of bits of shading in red. Okay, again, you do not need to do a woolly mammoth. I just use that as an example. Okay, you can choose another extinct animal to do your cave painting with. Now, I didn't have any Play-Doh or clay in my house today. But if you do want to do the carving and you've got Play-Doh or clay, or you want to go outside and use mud, all right, then again, you create your flat surface and then you can get your twig or a stone and you can go around and carve out the outline of your extinct animal. Okay, fantastic, year 3. I am really, really looking forward to seeing your work on Seesaw. And what I would love you to do is if you could take photos of the process. So for example, if you are screwing up your piece of paper, if you could do like I've done and take a photo of that so that I know what you have done. If you could take a photo of you painting with a twig, that would be amazing. So we can see how you created your cave painting, your cave drawing, if you're using a pencil, that's obviously absolutely fine as well, or your cave carving, if you're using Play-Doh or clay or mud. Right. Thank you, year 3, and I look forward to seeing your work on Seesaw, and I will see you next week. Bye.